We'll head to Westminster now and speak to James Heappey, the Conservative MP for Wales. Good morning, James.
Morning, Ben.
Tell us what you think on that question, of course, whether they should have one, and explain why as well, James.
Well, it's in their gift to have one if that is what the Scottish Parliament wants to do. But I think that the SNP are mad for choosing to try and do it at the time that they suggest. What they're going to end up giving the Scottish people is a choice between two enormous unknowns. On the one hand, they offer the Scottish people the option of leaving the United Kingdom, leaving the EU, because that is what they would do, and then trying to get back into the EU, or they would be choosing between to sort of leave to remain in the UK when we don't yet know what the Brexit deal is going to be. So if I were Nicola Sturgeon, I would be wanting to wait until after the EU negotiations are fully completed and then give the Scottish people a choice at that time if she wants to do so still.
But how much do you believe they have a mandate to hold this referendum just a couple of years on from the previous one?
I don't think they have a mandate at all, if I'm honest with you. I think that this is all about the SNP playing politics with the Brexit issue. The result of the referendum on Scottish independence was absolutely clear. I mean, far clearer than the EU Brexit referendum result. And they themselves, there's a great compilation going around on social media of Nicola Sturgeon saying again and again and again, this is once in a generation, once in a lifetime. But now, 2 years later, probably because the spectre of actually having to run Scotland with their own tax powers is dawning on the SNP, and what they like best is to be able to beat up Westminster because that's how they get their votes. I think they're just ratcheting it up with the threat of a referendum. But it's poor. The timing that they suggest is poor, and I think the Scottish people will have no truck with it.
But that 62% Remain vote from Scotland is pretty convincing, isn't it, really, as an argument for saying this is something so huge happening to the UK that one aspect of the UK, one country within the UK just doesn't want?
Well, but before that, there was a referendum on Scottish independence, and the Scottish people chose to remain in the UK. And I think we have to be clear that when you have a referendum, a United Kingdom-wide referendum, it is the United Kingdom result that matters. Just as, by the way, the SNP were always very clear in the previous Scottish independence referendum in 2014 that if, for example, the Orkney Islands voted to remain in the Union, which was perfectly probable, that they discounted any suggestion that would give rise to a case for Orkneyan independence. The fact is that we had a vote on membership of the UK, the SNP lost, Scotland quite rightly chose to remain within the Union. We then had a union-wide vote on leaving the European Union, and that was a vote to leave. It wasn't the way I voted, it wasn't the way perhaps you voted, but that was the result. And whatever that has meant for the SNP, I don't think this is about Brexit. This is just about the SNP playing their games with, to hide from their own inadequacies as a government in Edinburgh.
James Heappey, good to have you with us again. James Heappey is the Conservative MP for Wales.